Hey, Fanboy Nation.
This is your pal Daffy Duck, and you're watching.
We're watching Fanboy.
Fanboy, etc.
Fanboy Nation.
Dot, I assume Tom.
This woman is of many talents, including having been a professional snowboarding instructor. She plays Auntie Victoria in The Brother's Son. Toy Lei, how are you today?
Hey, great. Thanks for having me on, RC. I appreciate it.
Listen, this show was a lot of fun, action, comedy, family dynamics. For like what I love the most, and I talked to Kevin about this, first generation American problems, myself being first generation American from the west side of the Asian continent. We went through the same exact things, of study, get good grades, an A- is a D- to our parents. So
yeah,
I know how that works.
Good enough, for sure.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Here we are, and we're succeeding. And it's not everybody is an engineer, so that's fantastic. Although you might have your master's degree in engineering before your parents actually said, "Sure, go ahead in television and film."
Yeah. Immigrants really, I find them to be the hardest working people in the world. I feel like my parents were far more harder workers than I was. I get to play a little bit more, as being I was born in America, so I got to play a little bit more.
We do get a
when
little bit of
immigrants
a
come
break
over,
in
man, they have
comparison
it
to our
rough.
parents.
Yeah, they have it rough. I mean, my mom, who's done very well for herself. I mean, her first job was a counter waitress, I guess, at one of the restaurants in New York City, and she got fired not because she wasn't diligent, but it was because her English wasn't quite up to par for being a waitress, which it is now. I mean, that was when she first got here. So.
Well, just remember, the person with the accent speaks one more language than you do.
That's crazy, right? Absolutely.
And I think a lot of people figure that.
They're not dumber than you, by any means.
Right. Or they speak 5 more languages. We don't know.
Yeah.
So take us through this journey of the audition process for The Brother's Son. You're working with Michelle Yeoh. Like I was starstruck when I met her. So I was just a blubbering moron. And I presume you two have a rapport prior to the show, I believe I read. So, or did you meet on set?
No, I met her on set, and yeah, I mean how can you not love her? I mean, honestly, I did grow up watching her, and there's not too many people I get starstruck in front of because I've been in the business for a while. Not even just as an actor, but I used to be a musician. So I met tons of famous musicians. And so it's not really a big thing. But when I met her, the first day on set, I had to kind of, thank God it was the crowds. It was our first shot. My first shooting day with her was, I don't want to give any spoilers, but it was episode 5. I don't know if you recall that was when there's a dangerous situation for Michelle and all the aunties with her. And she walks in the room, and because there's so many people in the room, because all the aunties are there and all the bad guys are there, and it's a dangerous situation. I actually had a kind of, I don't think anybody knows this except my very close friends. I actually had to go step in the corner for a moment. Just breathe. Really, I didn't expect to have that kind of reaction. I couldn't really, you're paid to be a professional actor, so you're not supposed to, kind of have shortness of breath, and you're supposed to be able to say your lines normally and act to the character, act the scene like on an instant. And I had to, thank God there was everybody around, so I had to kind of take a moment and go stand in the corner and just not, just breathe a moment, and then kind of try to meditate and try to reduce the blood pressure a little, and then be like let's do this, right? So that didn't help, by the way. I tripped on the first shots.
And then you come out and play everybody's mean auntie.
Yeah, so you know, it was you know, the assistant director was like, "Hey, you guys, watch out for this this plywood right here. You're gonna be near it." And of course, as soon as they shut action on it. And after that, it was like, okay, that's it, we're done. I'm good. I can do this. That kind of shut the reality back in.
Well, don't worry, my luck, I would have tripped over the plywood as well.
Well, I just want just to say that, you know, no matter how, I mean, no matter how, maybe not for Michelle, but for the others of us who've done this for a long time, when we meet our heroes, it's always like, you know. I also just read something Justin, the guy who plays Charles, said where it was one of his posts where he saw Michael J. Fox far away. It's like, I'm not going to go bother him. And then Michael J. Fox came up to him and was like, thanks. And he was like, oh. So yeah, no matter how much success, I think that we always have our heroes that we can put on the pedestal.
You know, sometimes you have to approach your heroes, and you know, they say don't meet your heroes, but very rarely is it disappointing.
No, it's not. No, and you know, with someone like Michelle, who's so incredibly gracious, she is really gracious. She walked in that room, and she was so kind to all these older women who were literally there for her. You know, like these women had other lives that were not acting. They were brought in as like the crowd, the extras. And she was so kind to them because she knew that they were there for her. You know, they weren't there to be an extra. They were just there because they were there because, you know, support them. And she was so kind to them.
Well, you don't have a one-off. I mean, you're in 4 of the 10 episodes, so.
Yeah, no, I got lucky. I think I got lucky. You know, I do a pretty good imitation of my grandma and my aunt. So I think they liked it. I mean, I grew up watching my aunts and my mom and my playing Mahjong, so I just did what they do. So and it looked pretty legit, I think. According to, I'm asking a lot of my friends, like, you know, it looked all right. I mean, listen to the way I speak. I'm an American-born Chinese, so I don't speak English language, and I don't play Mahjong. So Michelle had to teach all 3 of us because none of us really knew how to play. We were like, are we going in the right direction? Or whose turn is it now? So yeah, no, it was I completely channeled my aunt and my grandma, who are the 2 most wonderful Mahjong aunties that and I think it played well.
So who had the better backhanded compliment, your aunt or your grandma?
Well, I definitely, with the speaking, it was all about my aunt, but my grandma is, dude, you don't want to play Mahjong with her. She will take all your money, like literally take all your money. When my grandmother's passed now, but when she was around, you know, I would go see her every week, and she'd be like, "Come on, let's go for Korean tofu soup. My treat. I wanted Mahjong." You know, it was like, but it was like every week she wanted Mahjong. Every week she's got, I got money. I wanted Mahjong. So, yeah, you don't want, she would actually not allow her daughters, my mom and my aunts, or any of us to play with her because we were too slow. She literally said, "You guys are too slow. I don't want to play with you." Like it was boring for her. So yeah.
You're gonna laugh. That's the exact reason why my grandfather wouldn't play backgammon with me.
See, that's old country right there.
Yeah.
That's totally old country right there. In America, they'd be like, okay, come on, I'll help you out. No, I don't want to play with you.
Right.
Go outside.
Right. What do you mean you're counting the spaces? Like you're really counting the spaces? You don't know where 6 moves is? Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, Grandpa, I
exactly.
haven't been playing since I was 3 and now I'm 75 to keep up with you.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of, that's why it's a mix of the two people. When I was playing Mahjong or trying to, I totally thought about my grandma, and when I was speaking, I was more thinking about my auntie.
Well, it looks like you had a great time doing it. And the show is phenomenal because, again, it's not just for a Chinese American audience. It's not just for an East Asian audience. This is very much an immigrant story that anybody from anywhere that's come to the United States could relate to. You know, minus the mafioso part, but then again, I'm sure there's quite a few around, you know.
Right. I mean, RC, thank you for so much for saying that. I feel like, that's funny, I was just saying it this morning. I feel like this that when we first kicked off the first, week, most of the audience was Asian Americans. And I feel like now that we're in our third, fourth week, that we're still really doing well on the chart. I mean, whereas before, like my white friends wouldn't kind of know what I was talking about. All of a sudden, it's like my white friends are now watching. It's kind of caught on, and when they watch it, they realize, oh, this is like same problems I have with my parents. Yeah, minus the guns, but the same problems I have with my parents. And I love churros too. Like that, those kinds of things. And it's so great that for so many years, Asians, Black people, Latinos, the rest of the non-dominant culture was watching white people, and we're really involved in stories. We're used to it. We're used to seeing that. And now it's nice to see that white folks or other non-Asians will watch our shows and not be like, oh, that's just the Asian show. No, it's because it's not. I mean, sure, we play Mahjong versus bridge, but I'm sure a bunch of non-Asians have aunties that play bridge and uncles that play bridge and stuff like that. And they also like churros, and they also like eating ramen noodles. So yeah, no, it's been great. I mean, it should be that way. We should watch all sorts of Americans do all sorts of different things.
And not every Chinese American movie has to be Joy Luck Club, where it's the most depressing immigrant story on the face of the planet. Like for us, I went up for a role. Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
No, like I went up for a role for something, and they're like, "Oh, we need I think it still said Middle Eastern, now it's Swana." And I was like, I don't know where the Southwest came from. It should just be Western Asian, but I'm not going to argue with it. At least we're recognized on the continent now, And like the guy talked to me and he was like, you're too light for this role. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, you don't look Middle Eastern. I was like, what am I supposed to look like? Falafel?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And I have a big bushy beard. It's kind of crazy, like there's lots of, there's a lot of Latinos that look like white people because, they were a lot other, it's mixed blood with the indigenous and the Spaniards. So, it's kind of like, yeah, I completely agree. We need to see, America needs to see that, all of America needs to see that America is all different types of all sorts. Clearly, probably, on the edges, meaning the coasts, because it's mostly urban, you have a lot more different mixes of people. I mean, I grew up in New York where, you walk down the street, you hear 20 different languages easily. And it's just normal. And I understand that towards, you know, the middle of the country, it's probably more white folks, but, you know, I love that perhaps they might watch another son and try to see what's that pastry they're eating, you know, and try it, you know. Not that they haven't eaten Chinese food before, and you know, and I also, you know, so you know, I'm happy that this is happening, and I'm happy it could cross over in a very palatable way. You know, you're right. Joy Luck Club, El Norte, you know, a lot of immigration stories are a little bit sad, and that's probably why people don't watch them. And this is an immigration story that's not sad. It's really fun, comical, relatable. You know, who doesn't love a churro?
And the beautiful part is it's not forced. Like so many, you know, films as of late in dealing with cross-culturalism has been forced and like very message orientated. And I'm like, just let the character be, because people are people, and we have way more fun when we can see something that's relatable from another culture than have it forced of like, you don't see me for this reason. And it's like, and with this show, yes, there's the mafia aspect of it, but we get to see everybody as a person.
Yeah, RC, you are absolutely correct. I don't have nothing to add to that. You know, I watch a lot of TV because I mean that's why I got into it, because I love it, you know. But you know, I see so many shows on, or independent films or feature films or whatever, where it's just like they're, you know, trying to pound into the message. And you know, that's not the kind of shows that I like to make or be in, you know. If the story is well written, the message will come through on its own. In the meanwhile, let's talk about, you know, you and me, you know, let's talk about what we're having for dinner. Or how's your day at school or at work, you know? And from that, the message comes, because we don't talk like 100% of, or even 80% of my dialogue with my friends is not about message of the day, you know. It's about, you know, what's going on, you know. I just had a baby 14 months ago. I literally had that conversation. Hadn't seen a friend since before COVID. Oh, I had a baby 14. Oh, tell me what's his name, you know, boy or girl, you know, blah blah blah. And, you know, and then from that, you know, other things happen.
Well, on top of all this, you
So
know,
you're absolutely right.
well, on top of all
Go
this,
ahead.
you're also a bass player. So like, you know, performer, musician, you know, now a Mahjong expert after having been taught by Michelle Yeoh. So we're gonna see you in the casino, like hustling people for money at some point. Like, you know, you've just been in the arts all around.
Yeah, no, I've had a very long career. I mean, I started acting when I was a child, and it's like you can imagine there were no Asians on TV, so that didn't last very long. Like when I was a kid, you know, I think I recall the only people on TV, Asians on TV at that time was the ancient Chinese secret couple. I don't know if you remember that commercial.
The Pearl Cream Lady.
Yeah, something like that, right? Every once in a while, you would see a black and white Charlie Chan thing go on, and it wasn't even like, I'd take a look at the face, and you know, it was just a white dude with, you know, doing the horrible, you know, whatever, taped up slanty eyes, and it would just and it would just be such a turn off at that point. I mean, to be honest, I grew up watching Chinese movies, Hong Kong movies. That's where I got my taste for martial arts movies. But in America, when I was trying to audition, they didn't really want Asian kids. So that kind of skewed off into me playing music instead. I mean, I love music. I still love music. I just don't have the time to play anymore. But and the only reason why I started going back into acting was once Xena Warrior Princess and Buffy the Vampire Slayer came on, and actually was the the icon for female action heroes when we do, you know, fights and stuff. I was like, oh, they're here. They're finally starting to make it here. They're finally starting to figure out that women can do action, that kind of stuff. And that's what I really love. I love action and I love sci-fi. You know, that's, you know, so that's when I started coming back into that.
Which is hilarious you bring this up because Cynthia Rothrock had to go from America to China to become an action heroine because she couldn't make it as a female action heroine in the United States.
Well, exactly. At the time, they weren't accepted here, you know, and so of course, you know, she did an awesome movie with Michelle Yeoh, and just started killing it, which is great. And I you know, and I commend Cynthia for making that move and doing it. She's become all, you know, which is amazing, you know. I see her every once in a while, so you know, floating around Hollywood.
Why do you think the West took so long to catch up to the rest of the world with female heroines and female leads? Like, we'll watch movies now, and the female actress has the top billing, and then she has to, you know, posture, I'm a strong, independent woman. Well, we figured it out because you're the star of the movie. Your name is above the of the marquee,
Dude,
and everything else. Like, why did we need to posture?
You know, you are asking on the absolute correct day, because the Oscar nominations came out, and guess who wasn't nominated for Best Director?
The director of Barbie.
Yeah, it's all over my finger. And you know, okay, we're not talking about some unknown, message-oriented, you know, rando movie that maybe two people have seen. We're talking about a movie that made $1 billion and is like a pop movie, you know, like a popcorn pop movie with big stars and, you know, with amazing production design and, you know, very clever, what do you call it? Script and without beating your head over it, you know. And who was the person who got the Best Actor award? It was the dude and not Barbie.
Right.
Well, actually, Margot Ferrer did get it, but why? I'm not sure why Margot Robbie, who I think did a really, really great job, completely embodied Barbie. Why she didn't get nominated? But, you know, it's very weird. So it's kind of blowing up my feed right now. All that, exactly all those reasons. I don't know. I don't know if this is such a problem, you know, and it took a long, and even now it's like, it's, you know, let's talk about, okay, just so you know, I live in downtown LA. There are a lot of cops here. In fact, the DTLA headquarters is literally, I mean, at Los Angeles police headquarters is literally 2 blocks away from me. I walk my dog by there all the time. And when I walk by and cops are all around Starbucks having their coffees, I'm not, you know, berating them. They should have coffees. But
yeah, you're just talking about geography.
I do an inventory and I'm like, yeah, I'm just talking about driving. But there's a lot of them that hang around here because of that, right? And I do my inventory and I'm like, oh, there's a girl, there's a guy, there's a Black person, there's a Chinese person, there's a, you know, and I do this kind of inventory just so I could see in my head what the landscape is for coffee. And guess what? It's kind of like 50-50 in downtown LA. It might not be in Iowa, but or Ohio, but in downtown LA, it is about 50-50. There's a lot of Latinos, there's a lot of Asian, there's a lot of Black, there's a lot of white, and it kind of gives me hope that, you know, people are integrating or whatever, and therefore making better choices when they're try not to profile people when they're, you know, going out and doing their job. Um, and yet, if you watch NCIS, if you watch 911 or any other, look at the cops all in the background, just a bunch of dudes. Look at the SWAT team, just a bunch of dudes. All I can do is sigh. I don't know, RC. I don't know what the answer is, other than, you know, asking the producers to be better, asking the directors to be better. You know, even now when you see fight scenes, you know, they're only recently, like in the past 2-3 years, having women in the fight scenes. Not like, you know, like the head chick, like May or June in not like that, but like in the bunches of people that get killed, right? Like the gangs, like you know, it's really just a bunch of dudes, and once in a while you see a woman. I don't know why that is, because there are plenty of women fighters out there. I know them. They're really good. They're really women fighters out there.
Yeah. I've been covering MMA since
And
2012, so yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
right, there are a lot of good people out there, and yeah, and people, a lot of, you know, I'm currently training jujitsu, and there are a lot of women in my gym, and they're awesome. You know, they're really great, and they're really inspiring. And you know, we're all different levels. You know, some of us are beginners, some of them are experts, and but they're all really inspiring, just as the men are. And I'm not sure why that isn't reflected in gang fights or whatever, you know, mafia fights that you have on the TV. It's, like I said, it's changing, but it's not changing enough. The only chicks that have fight is the lead action star.
I just think that
So,
if you just show people
I
being
have no answer
people,
for that.
yeah. No, but I just think if you just show people being people without, you know, adding the, you know, and in quotes, message, and just let it be, people take to it more than like, another message movie, you know? And if you let that
Yeah.
happen,
No.
more people will be far more accepting of it.
Yeah, I agree. Which
And
is,
like,
again, another lovely thing about the brother's son.
exactly.
You know? So we talk about Asian culture, but we don't talk about it.
Right. It's not like, you know, the one, so Miss Marvel was a show on you know, on Disney Plus, and the one thing that really bothered me about the show was when they were having dinner, they had to tilt the plate just enough so that you saw it was non-bread
See the curry?
as they passed it around, and I was like, really? You really had to tilt the bread basket? You know, like, come on, you know, just pass
Just have
the
them
bread
stuff
around.
the naan in their mouth, because and I would have wanted to rip that out of the screen and put it in my mouth, because I freaking love naan.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I know that's not necessary. It's not necessarily necessary. But,
Yeah. You know,
but
and then again, that's what we
you
both
know,
love about the brother son, because you let the story flow. You know, not everybody is related to the mob, but everybody has a mean aunt. Everybody has the brother that's been focused on work too much. Everybody has a relative that's the party boy. Everybody has the grandma that's, you know, 4'9" that everybody's scared of. Like, there's that's just human nature in families across the world.
indeed. And you know, again, that's why I'm so proud to be a part of this show. It's because it's fun, and yet it does show families, and it just happens to be, you know, flavored with, you know, Asian culture, which is just great, because I love my culture. I love the Asian food.
When you get, you know, when you get the script from your agent and you're like, here's an Asian show, and there's, you know, is there the fear of like it's going to be too many stereotypes? Is it going to be too much message stuff? And then you finally get something like Brother Son, and you're like, oh my God, this is like real, you know, again, minus the mafia stuff, but like the human interaction is real. Like, how refreshing is that?
Oh, it was great. Yeah, no, it was really, uh, it was, I mean, my audition process started very early on. Uh, and when I read for the aunties, it was kind of like, it was, I don't want to say it was easy, like, because I don't want to make it sound like, oh, I'm all that, but it was because how it was written, it was just very easy. Like, it was like, oh, this is my Auntie Victoria. I just went right into it. Um, uh, and it's because how they were talking. I mean, when you watch it, you see how they're talking was just very natural flow of like that's how they talk. That's really, you know, you know how they're talking when whilst they're playing, when they meet new people, you know, the gossiping, the seriousness of the game, and yet not the seriousness of the game. You know, it was just so. So yeah, it was, you know, and I've been given other Mahjong scenes to read, and this one was by far the best. And again, like I said, because it was written so well, it was just easy. It was like, oh, I know exactly what this is. It's like stretch. Like I have to kind of find moments to, you know, not talk about a message. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Does it almost feel like it's not work? Yes, it's work, but I mean that you don't have to put the, like you're saying, you know, it was real that you didn't have to put the extra effort in to try to make it a three-dimensional character versus already being presented with one.
It was already, you know, it was presented that way. And again, it was like, as soon as I read it, because it was so, you know, just see my aunt talking, and just go into that, you know, and it was, these were conversations. I mean, not, you know, I don't think I've ever heard my aunt talk about all sorts of Colotus, but you know, similar conversations like these were conversations I've heard all my life growing up as you know, the American-born kid of these immigrant parents who are playing Mahjong. Heard this all my life growing up. So it wasn't that's what I'm saying. It wasn't that hard, and it wasn't it's just a testament to the writing, you know. You know, my muscle memory from my brain of growing up. I might have, I guess, I had a good memory to replicate that. But yeah, no, it's just a testament to the writing that it just was real. And you know, that's how they talk. That's how they talk.
Now, is ABC still in vogue when referring to American-born Chinese, or is that fallen off? Because like sometimes, you know, we'll put like American-born Chinese and then in parentheses to shorten it, they'd put the abbreviation. And I wanted to make sure because I don't want to get in trouble by people if I abbreviate it that way.
I call myself ABC all the time. You know, I hashtag it all the time too.
Yeah.
It's just easier. Honestly, I don't like saying more Chinese all the time. ABC is so much easier. It's easier to remember too.
Yeah. Well, it's also
I
fun
do
when you have the
remember
fresh off
that
the boat relatives.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, yeah. I don't, I don't think it's wrong. And even if, I think I'm so old school that even if it became out of vogue and became one of those no words that you're not allowed, whatever, it's not too lazy.
Right. Yeah. You played bass, and I know your sister's also in the arts as well, and she's been a producer on several shows, quite a few of them actually. Does she play an instrument, and did you two ever start a band together?
No, my sister was more of a ballet dancer. She was into that. Um, that music thing was strictly my own. I didn't. Okay, hold on. Every ABC kid with immigrant parents has to play piano or violin or something like that. Okay, that's not what I was. This whole when I'm talking about playing music and we're talking about like rock and roll, punk rock, all that kind of stuff. It's not what my parents had in mind when they were giving me piano and violin lessons. So, yeah, all going into that genre, the dance music genre. How they used to write is not whatever. My sister didn't do that. She was into going into film and TV far before I, other than acting, which I had like stopped to go into music, she just kind of jumped right into film and TV and, did quite well. Um, uh, although she did work on a different side of film and TV, she does that, and she was a series producer for No Resolution with Anthony Bourdain, started up a whole bunch of those kind of, History Channel, or not History, Travel Channel and Discovery Channel kind of shows that are doing really, really well. So she was more on a kind of not scripted kind of side of things. I'm straight up narrative girl. I love, like I said, science fiction and action. It's like completely the opposite side of the globe from what my sister was doing. So we've never collaborated on any projects, whether music or TV, simply because we're just interested in different types of stories. Although she does love action movies and she does love science fiction, but I don't think she has an interest in making those.
I was gonna say now you could pen a script and do a Lei family production. If it worked for the Shaw brothers, it can work for the Lei sisters.
Oh, you're hitting up the Shaw brothers now. Oh my God, RC, you are into it. You into it deep.
If you're gonna watch kung fu movies, you got to watch the Shaw brothers.
You have to. They're the one. Shaw Brothers, Golden Harvest. They're the ones who made the whole thing. Begin out there, we wouldn't have Jackie Chan. We wouldn't have, literally, we would not have. Never would not have the kind of. We would not have the brother son. I mean, we would have the son, but maybe in a completely different kind of format that we wouldn't understand. Not quite as fun, I'm sure. Yeah, no. I'm trying to get my sister to come over to the dark side, but we'll see. Never say never. It's a work in progress. I have to see. I have to kind of hit on the right subject matter with her. It might have to be real enough for her, like so that it feels like non-scripted, but fun enough for me, so I'm not just kind of falling asleep.
Yeah. Well, maybe
Don't
you guys can make a parody of 90 Day Fiance.
Oh, that sounds good.
I got addicted to that during the pandemic. Like,
oh, you did?
It was by total accident. Like I was just channel surfing because we're stuck at home in California and they shut the whole state down.
Yeah.
I put the remote down to go get a glass of water and I hear this really raspy old Southern woman yelling at this poor African guy. And I come back and go, my God, what is this? And I was just stuck. Yeah.
Well, at least, hopefully you didn't get sucked into Real Housewives or other things too.
No, I didn't get sucked into that one, but like the 90 Day Fiance franchise and those spin-offs, just like,
look,
and I look at that show as, go ahead.
Good.
I was going to say, I look at that as the perfect allegory to how great America is as a nation, in the fact that these unfortunate people from third world countries are willing to suffer the worst of American society just to get here.
There you go. And they're the bravest people on the planet. Seriously. Seriously. Yeah. But I do have to say that as much as I don't, I don't necessarily follow those shows and or those that might I mean they have place because clearly they're doing well. Clearly they sucked you in.
Sucked me in, just the, and that was it. But hey, it made your sister a ton of money, so that's good.
She's done well. She's got some really good, I think she's just proud of her work. She has been nominated for Emmys, so it's pretty great. I'm proud
So
of her.
I have to ask you this. The brother son is doing wonderfully. We're presuming, we haven't got confirmation, but this is a presumption that it's going to get a second season. What does Auntie Victoria look like in season 2?
I've got lots of ideas. Now, whether or not those ideas are the writer's ideas is a completely different story. Even though I do write content, I'm not in the writers, so I have no say on it. Whatever what happens though, I'm I will say this, RC, that I'm just so grateful for the delicious love I was given to say. And I'm just looking forward to seeing what other things they're going to have me say. And coming up, and I'll do it channeling my grandma and my auntie with a smile. It's just such an honor to be able to play this character in this show that is it's a show that I would watch even if I wasn't in it. And if I wasn't in it, I'd be like, damn it, why was I called? No, but it's a show I would watch even if I wasn't in it. It would be at the top of my list because it's just I love it.
Well, the
And I'm
show
just
is
grateful, and I hope when that second season comes, I just bring it, man. Whatever they got, bring it. Let's do it.
well, the show's been absolutely phenomenal. It's streaming on Netflix right now. I do want to ask you one question since you keep saying that you're channeling grandma and your aunt. Is your aunt still with us?
Yeah.
And is your mom still with us?
She is. She's in Vegas.
Okay. When you say that you channel your aunt, does your mom go back and watch those episodes and go, yeah, my sister does that? Or your aunt went back and saw them and go, I've never done that. What is she talking about? She's channeling me.
Well, to be honest, I don't know if my aunt has seen the show. And I'm positive my mother has not seen the show either because she's been out of the country on a cruise, like without internet for 2 weeks. So I don't even think she's seen my posts or bloody blah blahs or anything like that. You have to come ask me in a week. We'll see.
We'll find out when mom gets back from her cruise.
To be honest, I don't even think my sister's seen it because she's busy with her. So I don't think my family has seen this. My cousin has seen it. My cousin, and she posted about it. She laughed about it, but I don't think she knows my auntie Ginger, which is not her mom and not my mom. I don't think she knows it's a thing of Auntie Ginger. But if I said it, she'd be like, "Oh my God!" I knew she would know the reference. She would see it immediately.
Got it. So what are you working on next before I let you go?
Well, I am a director. My film Moon is right now in the film festival. So between being Brother Son, I've been promoting Moon, which is on all socials as Moon the Film. We just got back from Borrego Film Festival where I won Best Female Director Award. I'm following that up with another short called Charlie. That's in post-production right now, and still looking for some really next great roles coming up. I've already been we've all just started post-strike re-auditioning and stuff like that. So we're all just kind of starting to go down path. Um uh, and uh, that's been doing well. In fact, I auditioned right after this for I won't say romantic. So hopefully that'll go well
Awesome.
because that's all sci-fi.
Toy Lei, where can we find you on social media if we want to connect with you?
Play with toy everywhere. Play with toy. Just like it sounds. Play with toy on the film. And that's me. Thank you for having me, Darcy. I really appreciate it. It's been a fun
No,
time.
it's been a huge pleasure, and the show's great. And they're like, "Oh, we want you to talk to somebody from Brother Son." I was like, "Yeah, twist my arm." And then when I find out that like you're the mean auntie in the show that's like making everybody laugh, and I was like, "Of course, I gotta talk. I gotta talk to Toy."
Was that mean? Come on,
No,
I was
but like,
smiling half the time, wasn't it? But
right, but that's the mean auntie is the one with all the like backhanded compliments that just sits there and insults you, and like it takes you 30 seconds to figure out, wait a minute, she wasn't being nice.
yeah.